Oh, hello. Talking a little bit today about sweetening up your soil, not with the limestone, but actually with sugar itself, and it definitely makes for better and happier plants. I'm doing it now in my garden. Now we're in the fall part of the year, and it is working. I have one piece of my property that has not been treated with sugar. It's growing much slower, smaller plants, healthy but not growing as fast. We've gotten a lot of rain here today. It's been raining since, I want to say, since 3 o'clock this morning. It's 4 o'clock now, it's still raining. Hello, how you doing, food forest permaculture? I've mentioned your name in two of my videos because I like to give credit where credit is due. I have used the molasses in my soil one time, and when I did that, I noticed that the plants were behaving differently. Oh, you're welcome. Anytime. Um, I saw what was going on. I had great soil in the beginning because of me using the chop and drop. I like the way the soil looks. I like the fact that when I put things in it, it grows. But to have that extra edge with the sugar and things are growing faster and the plants look better. Yeah, I appreciate that. And it's just a better deal. I looked at the soil and I'm like, wow, this is different. Now I have what I did is I'm doing a little test because I have uh, for I have 3 rows of 3 rows collard green, kale, and collard greens off to itself. I use sugar on 2 of the rows, which is collard green and kale, and those plants are absolutely bigger. They're much bigger plants. There's no question. The area where I use no sugar, the plants are healthy and green and they look great, but they're growing slow. Um, so that being said, I know that there is a difference. Um, but I just realized I have it's called it's a unit you connect onto the hose. It's a spray bottle, and you can feel it. You can fill it. Excuse me. You can fill it up with sugar if you want to. So I thought about that. I said, okay, the next time I do a watering, I can hit everything that I want to hit um, with the sugar. I can use it right through the sprayer because the sprayer has settings on it, and you can set it from one to I think it's 1 to 10 or something like that. And I can set well how much I want to sugar I want to use and see which setting actually works best, um, and go from there. So a little bit of a experimental thing there, find out what's the best setting. Um, now there also I wanted to bring up there is a new apple on the market, and the way they described it, they say Honey Crisp apple, move over. There's a new sheriff in town. It's called Cosmetic Crisp. Cosmetic Crisp. And the thing about it, the makers or the people that are selling this new strand, number one, you can't find it anywhere. You can't find it anywhere to buy the tree. I looked everywhere on the internet. I'll put it that way. And no, excuse me. Let me reiterate that. There's one store that has it. It's called Fast Growing Fruit Trees. They want $100 for the tree. Now, if you were a big time investor and you said, I'm going to buy one of these trees, and some of you know how to get 10 or 20 trees out of that tree, 40, 100, 1,000 out of that tree, and have the trees that way. But I've already know that it's pretty much copyrighted and everything. But nice thousands of times apples. Yes. Nice, thousands of but this apple, you should see the commercial that they have. They're biting it and it just cracks, just crack wide open. It just cracks. And I'm thinking this has got to be sound added because they have that crispier sound. It just doesn't sound natural. Um, and it's a cross between. They said it was a cross between Honey Crisp and it was another apple. I can't call the name of it right now, folks. I apologize for that, but it's a cross between Honey Crisp and I want to say Fuji, but I'm not going to say that because I'm not sure right now. But it is a cross between Honey Crisp. Now they said move over, Honey Crisp. Move over. There's a new sheriff in town. Um, and they're talking about how many acres they already planted it on, which is thousands of acres that they're trying to get the numbers up. They've invested tens of thousands of dollars in equipment, um, and they are looking into bringing this thing to the market as quick as possible, as quick as possible. Um, so they're banking everything on the fact that this is going to be the new coming of one of the greatest apples on earth. The Honey Crisp was done the same in the same fashion. It was the biggest dog for the longest time. Now, is this going to be an actual big event, or will it get around that? Hey, this apple is all right, but it's not. It's all right. It's okay, but it's not. All that. Or will it get? Oh my God, I will give up my right arm for this apple. Is it going to be that effect? But we'll see. Immediately, I wanted that apple tree, and I tried, shopping around. But I said, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not giving nobody $100 for it. No, no, I'm not doing that. And plus, it was from that place called uh, Fast Growing Fruit Trees, and I heard some bad things about it. And when I heard bad things about it, I go to the people that I talk to, like yourselves, every day. And when I hear them saying, "Hey, I bought this tree, it was dying or it was sick," when I try to contact them back, no one really listened to me. No one really took me serious. And that was from China. That grows. Okay, that's a lot of money for an apple, but I will say this. This particular tree was produced, uh, this particular apple was produced in Washington. So some people actually call it the Washington apple. But when I researched Washington apple, there is a Washington apple. But, this one is called the cosmetic crisp. But some people call it Washington apple. And it is noted for being red with, it looks like yellow stars on the apple. That's what it looks like, yellow stars. Yeah, it's a red apple with yellow dots on it. That's what it is. So cosmetically, I don't know if that's going to be pleasing to everyone, but they're saying it's going to be the crown jewel of the apples when you get to showing off and saying, hey, I grow apples, and if you don't have that in your collection, then you got to step back a little bit. But I have the Honey Crisp, so I'm happy with those. I have one, two, three, four. I think I have five of them, and but it's some videos actually up on YouTube about the apple so far. And if you could tell it's a new apple because the video's only been up for maybe a month at the most, a month. And you won't find any old videos. If you look through the archives and see it 8 years ago, 5 years ago, you won't see that. You will see only one that says cosmetic apple. I call Stock Brothers. They don't have it. Never heard of it. And I said, wow, they never heard of it. That means that Stock Brothers is not really on top of the game when customer calls and the customer know about an apple that's getting ready to shake up the world, and they don't know about it. They don't even know about it. I was disappointed. I have apple there. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I agree with you. Honeycrisp is a really big apple because I've seen them big, but um, I've seen them big. I didn't know Honeycrisp apples got that big. But now let me ask you something. Am I wrong assuming that? Because I think there's like more than one variety of Honeycrisp apple. Because I keep seeing one at Stark Brothers. It looks one way on one of the photographs, and then they got another photograph of it being dark red. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, something's different here. But I like Honeycrisp, always did. Fuji, I like a Fuji apple, and I also like my other favorite, which is a Granny Smith. Walking in the park, watching lovers do their thing. Ooh, baby, that's the time. Mm. Yeah, so that's the deal. Mhm. Yeah, it's they said it took them a few years to develop this apple. They claim 10 years to get this apple, and the one that's getting the credit for it is Washington something Institute, some kind of agriculture there place that is saying that hey, we are the ones that developed this apple. That's the time. Well, I am sitting here and it's raining outside, and it's been raining all day, and I'm happy about that. that we finally, yeah, we got the rain we've been crying about, and so we're happy about that. I'm happy about it. But I'm gonna go out if everything is okay tomorrow, and I'm gonna hit uh, that one spot over there that was not hit with sugar, and I'm going to see what I got with that because when you do that, you get the ball rolling, and then you see those plants catch up real quick. You'll say, "Oh, this is really something. This is really something." Because right now I'm in a place where I'm thinking that if you could add nutrients to the soil by feeding the biology, at that with just with pretty much already putting chop and drop in the ground. So we're just adding a bit of organic matter, and then on top of that, adding uh, what we call stimulating the biology in the soil, and have it grow at an enormous rate, and then it produce all this nutrients into a form that the plants can ingest them, take them in. That is a game changer. Yes, 10 years. Oh yeah, yeah, 10 years, absolutely, 10 years, and I love it. I have. Okay, so you have an apple that you have grew in your own orchard, and but what do you think of the apple? I mean, if you were to describe it, what would you say about it? I am adding the molasses this time around. The first time I added, first of all, the first time I added the molasses was in a watering can. Simply poured some in there, and I poured rainwater in on top of it, which is, some of I store my own rainwater. So once I did that, I said, okay, I'm going to definitely take this, stir it up, and I started pouring it over the plants. When I did that, within a day or two, there was absolutely a noticeable difference, folks. There was a noticeable difference. And Food Forest Permaculture was telling me about it. And once he told me about it, I said, okay, his word is good. I said, let me go ahead and try this because I said, I need to have something that I can speed up the growth of these collard greens and kale because I put them in kind of late, because we kept having sunny weather, hot weather, then cold weather, then hot weather, and it kept going extremes. And so I said, okay, the hot climate change is definitely different now. So I need to find something that I can put down and will, help out. I said, hello, sir. How are you? I'm doing fine. Thank you. I like new kinds of apples. Yeah, yeah, new kinds of apples is definitely a plus. Let's see, used for apple cider. Okay, using the apple cider. Okay, and sauces. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. But I did what I did. I did what I did. I said, let me try this, and I'm looking in my shelf, and I knew I had some molasses down there somewhere. I thought I lost track of it, but I found it anyway and poured it in there. And it's unsulfured molasses is what I use. Unsulfured. I want to make sure I make that clear because I believe there's two kinds, and I got the unsulfured kind. So I poured it in a container, and I poured it over the plants, and I didn't overdo it. I just said, no, let me do this where it makes sense to me. So I said, common sense, don't overdo it. I came back the second day. I noticed that the plants had greened up more. They were already pretty green, but they greened up more. Then the next day I went up there and they put on height, and then the leaves started swelling. From this to this, the leaves were coming out. And I said, oh, okay. I said, that definitely has an effect on it. I said, but look how fast it reacted. And then I started going crazy with reading everything I could get my hands on to learn as much as I possibly could, and found out uh, that the information I got was not only solid, but food followers were putting some information down there which particular types of forms of life in the soil that it grows, and found out that he was dead on. He was naming the ones, and I said okay. And when you go there, what happens is what was explained to me in some of the writings is that you pour this sugar in there, the the life in the soil, the biology of the soil goes absolutely crazy, and they start feeding and producing and going crazy around the root areas of your plant. So they produce all these numbers of themselves, and they they like double their population. One actually had written that they could double their population, in less than 30 minutes, and then they continue on doubling and doubling until the food supply runs out. And once the food supply runs out, then they start to die back. And guess what they're leaving when they're dying back? They're leaving all of this energy that they had, their life, their life force, if you will, their bodies, their remains, and they leave all this stuff there. And when they leave it there, the plant takes it in. The plant takes all of this in, and it's just a wonderful thing. Also, you come out in another 2 weeks, and you water again with the sugar, and they go crazy again. And you still have food left there from the first feeding, from their body. They eat that too, and they eat the sugar and everything. So you got this big explosion again. Goes on for a number of days, and once that takes place, I mean, your plants are just enjoying the good life, so to speak. So now your plants are getting all this energy and that they needed from the soil, from them, and everything is beautiful. And you're improving the sugars and the quality of what you're growing. So now, when you ingest these plants, you're taking in all of this energy into your body, which makes your garden or your plants more suitable to nourish your body. Oh, come on now. And when it was said to, when I got that information from Food Forest Permaculture, and I got the information that I was reading, I was like, wow, this is incredible. This is a win-win, is what it is. So I will be using this from here on out. And thanks to Food Forest Permaculture for sharing that, because he did not, folks, he did not have to. Because I kept seeing all this food he was growing, all this food he was growing. I'm looking at it and saying, God darn, this man is not going to be able to eat all of this. And so, but he was growing it because, he was doing it in the right way. That the food was just, I would much rather have this problem of food being absolutely overabundant than to be, you get an apple here or you get a couple of peaches there, and then they're not really sweet and all of that. No, nobody wants that. Or they have peaches on a tree just there forever because they're not growing any bigger. This is okra seeds. And I love my okra. I love my okra. And that's just something I do. Now you got this here. You're mixing up a brew of, let's say, sweetening molasses and fish emulsion and 1 gallon of water planted. Absolutely. If you want to add fish emulsion to your mix, by all means do it. I mean, what is it going to hurt? It's not going to hurt anything. But what I'm saying is that I'm using just the sugar because if you look at the fish emulsion, fish emulsion is known for a lot of good things that it adds. It adds nitrogen and all to the soil. Well, the biology is adding that to the soil on its own. Once that Once they start eating the sugar and then excreting their waste. Once it goes to their system, it adds the nitrogen to the fecal matter, and then it comes out and the plants eat it and they're just happy. So yeah, you absolutely can use fish emulsion. Absolutely, absolutely. You can use seaweed extraction. I mean, if you want to, it's up to you. Oh, damn! I just said seaweed extraction. You just put that up there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, anybody. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. We said it at the same time. But imagine, if you will. Now, see what you put up here. I've seen E1 and emotion will help roots. Absolutely will. You got to remember E1. If you really look at E1, E1 is actually made from rice water and also milk. The fat of the milk. Because I remember you take the milk and it sours, and then what I do is I extract the liquid off of it, strain it, and then you got also what's the other thing? You got the water from the rice, which is basically sugar. And so what I'm doing is cutting the middleman out. Food Forest Pharmacology was saying sugar. Well, that's what you're getting when you take the rice and let it sit in an area for a period of time, and then the bacteria come into that rice, and then you got the bacteria, and you also have the sugar that is producing. So you can go that way, you can go the sugar way, you can go to the seaweed way, you can go to fish emulsion way, whatever you think is going to get you there. By all means, do it because everybody got to have their way to go. Some people will use what we call it compost to come to the same conclusion. Because if you put compost down, you also stimulate the biology in the soil. I think it takes longer because my soil is loaded with what we call it. It's loaded with chop and drop. Listen, folks. I saw my soil go from, I mean, almost dead, and I struggled each year. And I watched me say, "Oh, something I'm doing wrong. Oh, something I'm doing wrong. Get a soil test. Get a soil test." And I'm going all over the place. But what sparked it was I kept not cleaning up the yard when I would grow my little crops, and I would see the area cleaned up in the spring and in the summer. I said, "Wait a minute, where'd all those okra plants go that was just dried up? Where did all the corn go that was dried up over here? Where did all these weeds go that I pulled out of the ground and left them laying over here? Where did all the vegetables go that I left laying over here? Where did they go? Well, they went in the soil. The biology got rid of it. The biology. And it would leave on the surface this black soil. And I asked myself, wait a minute, I learned all of this. Is it happening this fast when you use chop and drop? Then I started a whole campaign of just chop and drop. I was letting the weeds grow and pulling them and pulling them. I said, wait, this is a lot of work. This is a lot of work pulling all these things up. And some weeds get so thick and bold, you can't even pull them out of the ground. That's how tied in they are, or how big and bold burly they are. And what I wound up doing was um, purchasing a weed trimmer and going all over the ground and just chopping down everything that was weed and leaving it laying right where it was. When I started doing that, folks, it was on. I did that for 3 years straight, and the soil turned into this black, pretty, black, moist, soft, worms everywhere in it. And I said, something is going right. But I noticed that my plants were growing at a normal rate. They were growing at a normal rate. And I said, okay, this is good that I'm growing healthy plants. I like that, but could I do better? And then I was on a line one day, and Mr. Food Forest Permaculture mentioned the sugar. And I said, wait a minute, I've heard about this sugar. Oh, hello. I've heard about this sugar, but where, I mean, is it going to make a significant difference? I said, well, try it. Got out there with my water can, got the unsulfured molasses, and I put a little, some in a container, which is a watering can. They make them out of plastic now, so they're not actually a can. So you stir it, and then I poured it over the plants. And I'm thinking, okay, big deal. This is going to be great. But how fast will it actually grow in this environment? Because I know food forest permaculture is good in his environment. But in this environment, with my kind of soil and everything, um, so I poured it on, and 2 days later, the plants were different. They were different. I said, wait a minute, this can't be possible. How can these plants be this much bigger? And all I did was treat them with this 2 days ago, and they were bigger. More research, got online, talked to food forest permaculture, and he said, how to apply it, and and how often, and I got that down, and it was just wonderful because I said I can keep up with this schedule. And then when I found out that I could use any kind of sugar, it didn't have to be molasses. It didn't have to be that. Now I got to go back to the store because the molasses I used up for some years ago. I don't know how much it costs, but I'm not gonna spend $100 for sugar if I can use bag sugar. If I can use bag sugar for $1, something a bag, guess what I'm going to use? You know. So, but I got this spray bottle that connects to a hose, and that's going to be my next unit. I'm going to use to put down the sugar because it'll do it faster, quicker, and I can cover more area without walking around with a watering can. Because a watering can, I don't want to be there all night. Fix it up, stir it up, go back over to the barrels, fix it up, stir it up. I don't want to do that. So if I could spray down everything, I could spray down areas. And he's saying, and one thing I read is also is it's better to put it down in the fall because you take care. See, here's what I do. All my garden gets fed in the fall, winter. When I go through my yard, I cut down everything and I leave everything right there in on the ground. It goes back into the ground. When spring comes, all of that stuff goes back into the ground. So I go out there with the weed trimmer. I trim down all the weeds. I trim down everything. I cut my trees height down, and I leave all the wood cuttings underneath the trees. Come back in spring, it's gone. It's gone. So when you take that and then you add watering those fruit trees down with sugar, watering down the blueberries and raspberries with sugar, you just started something. You just started something because you're going to stimulate a whole bunch of biology in that area, and it's going to sit there all winter. And when the spring and summer come, the food supply is going to be there. Now, imagine this: having raspberries that are actually sweet as opposed to kind of sweet. Imagine that. Imagine eating apples and peaches that are so sweet because you took care of it in the fall. You took care of that. You didn't have them go all the way through the winter hungry. You fed the trees. You took care of your area where you grow your vegetables. You sprayed all that down with sugar and stimulated the population of biology, and then it died off as the food supply diminished, but left all its remains there on the ground. You ain't doing nothing but fertilizing your whole ground, and you're doing it at the right time when Mother Nature does it. Okay, good people, this has been the Morning Gardener, and I want to thank you, each and every one of you, for tuning in and just spending some time with me. I don't have that big audience, but I'm gonna keep on keeping the show on, even though sometimes I get 5 people in here. And the other thing I get in here, I got to tell you, if people come into the room and don't say nothing, what is that all about? I don't understand. Maybe it's something I'm missing, but I've had days where they would come in the room and they would just be there. And I'm just looking at them and I'm thinking, okay, they must have a question or maybe say hello or something. You know, in here. You said 10 people are in here. Okay, yeah, that's good. That's good. That's real good. Oh, and I want to ask you, food farmers permaculture, do you see yourself in the near future doing a video? Because here's what the problem is. There's very few videos online with people actually using sugar, showing how to use sugar. I'm telling you this, there's not that many on it. And then what they're doing, the ones that are on there, they really don't give information. They only giving you what they heard, and then it sounds like they don't have all the information. So if you get time, if you feel like it, because I know you got a busy schedule as well. But if you happen to think of it and you get time, you go ahead and do the thing, and I'll see it, and everybody will see it, and they'll be like, oh, okay, there it is. There's the correct information. There is the reasons why and all of that. So, because I've seen too many of them, and they're saying just add a bag of sugar, and it should make your plants grow. And I'm thinking, what is he talking about? But they do the best they can, I guess. All right, good people. Thank you very much for tuning in. This has been the Morning Gardener. And I want to thank you all, and remember to keep on growing. Keep on growing. Keep right on growing.